Alright, that's good. I was not trying to be all in your face like that. My bad. I just have to make sure my camera was focused. How your day going? I already know it's going good. You're not going to tell me nothing different. About to check out 3 scary true Chuck E. Cheese stories by Mr. Nightmare. To this day, Chuck E. Cheese still kind of creep me out, and I think FNAF did a really good job. And some of it I be kind of believing. Look, we not here about that. About to check out the video. Want to check out the original video? Link will be in the description below. But let's go. I need to get another candle.
Remember Chuck E. Cheese? That old arcade with the singing animatronics? Of course you do. I just found out they went bankrupt recently. It made me think back to my horrible experience there as a very little kid. I was no older than 8 or 9. It was like my 3rd and last time ever at a Chuck E. Cheese. This specific location closed down years ago, but it used to be basically down the street from our old house. My mom took my little brother and I, and she let us roam free and do our own thing and play the games, while she sat at one of the tables reading like most of the other parents. I was playing this clown game where you had to shoot the clown's teeth out with this little cannonball shooter.
I know, yup.
I was playing the games that would get me the most tickets for the prizes.
Don't play that, dude.
I finished the game again, and the tickets shot out from the ticket slot. That's when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned and jumped in my seat. I was greeted with a giant Chuck E. Cheese mascot in my face.
Oh!
He held out his hand for a high five, and naturally I gave him his high five with a smile.
Man, if you don't back up.
He then pointed at the tickets and gave me a thumbs up. I think I just continued laughing and smiling and said, yeah. Then he pointed at the tickets once more and motioned for me to follow him.
Hell no.
So I ripped the tickets from the slot and followed the giant mascot. As we walked across the main floor, a couple other kids around like 6 came up to him saying, "Hey Chucky," and he gave them both high fives. I kept following him, wondering if he'd tell the other kids to follow, but he didn't. He would turn back every few seconds to make sure I was still following. Finally, we made it across.
You know why? Cause that's somebody that don't work there. That's somebody legit up in there, bro, in a Chuck E. Cheese outfit, and they trying to kidnap you. You know what's crazy, bro? Hey, we went to Chuck E. Cheese recently. We're gonna get back to the story. I like it, but it's scary to know. I don't know about your location, but when you walking out in and out now, they gotta like stamp you with like these stamps or whatever to make sure. So when you leave, that you're not leaving with nobody else's kid. That's crazy. Kids can't even have fun with the rat no more. I ain't never liked you anyway. I ain't gonna count.
He would turn back every few seconds to make sure I was still following. Finally, we made it across the main floor by the stage towards this back area, where he waved me to follow him through this employees-only door. From what I remember about how I was feeling, let's just say a combination of weird and excited. We entered this narrow hallway, and I felt kind of special for being allowed access back here. Keep in mind, I had the mind and maturity of a very young child.
Yes, you do.
The mascot led me to this back room where he motioned for me to enter first, so I did. It was this small changing room type of room. It had a few lockers on one wall and one long bench extending half the length of the room. That was it. He entered the room and shut the door behind us, and I noticed he locked it. That's when I became confused and afraid. I thought he was taking me to get a bunch of free tickets. What could he possibly do in this empty room with me? He approached me, put his furry mascot hand on my shoulder, and then started rubbing from my shoulder to my arm. Then he seemed as though he tried to reach lower with both of his hands, and I pushed him off and yelled, "Stop." That's when the person in the suit lifted the mask off his head, revealing some sweaty, middle-aged man underneath. He started to remove the rest of the costume from himself as he told me to be quiet.
Nah, cause bro, it's legit kind of hard to move the outfit, bro. You should have jumped on, bro, right there. But then again, you only like 8. He is still probably overpower your little ass, but don't do that.
Suit lifted the mask off his head, revealing some sweaty, middle-aged man underneath.
You still
He started to remove the rest of the costume from himself as he told me to be quiet. I sat there watching, shaking, and plotting my way for the door. When I thought he was distracted enough by the suit, I tried to run past him for the door, but he grabbed me and told me to stop. He offered me all the free tickets I wanted if I just behaved. I started to yell and pound on the door. He tried to cover my mouth, but I think he gave up when he realized it wasn't worth the risk for him. I unlocked the door and ran back down the hall in tears. I ran back to my mom, yelling at her about what just happened. She was distraught and went right to the front desk. The girl at the front desk seemed to be in a panic as well, and I think she called for her supervisor. Pretty soon, all the music was stopped and the place was put into a lockdown of sorts, where all the kids were to go to their parents. A bunch of workers ran to the back section, and eventually police showed up outside. I had to give my whole story to a crowd of like 6 people, and I was extremely nervous. The man in the Chucky suit was some random creep who snuck into the back section of the building to dress in one of the suits and apparently lure children to the back. Realizing and looking back at that now as a grown adult is disturbing and disgusting, that I was the victim of a predator. I never found out if that monster was caught.
Man, and the crazy part is, it is hella crazy to look at it that way, because if you were someone who was in those shoes where that happened to or almost happened to, like he said, when you get older, you realize, bro, like that was such a dangerous ass situation I was in, all because of some creep who wanted me.
I was the victim of a predator. I never found out if that monster was caught.
Hell no.
I used to work for Chuck E. Cheese very briefly when I was 21 years old. I was one of the janitors / maintenance workers. I know, not very awe-inspiring. I was broke as hell and needed money. All my job really entailed was cleaning tables and keeping the play areas generally clean. Sounds easy, but there was never really a time to just sit and take a breath. There was always something to clean or take care of. I would also be in charge of turning on and off the animatronics, opening the stage curtains, fixing busted arcade machines, and things of that nature. My shifts would always be later, from like 4 to 10 p.m. My location closed at 8 on weekdays and 9 on weekends. I would stay an hour, sometimes 2 hours after, to get the place in top shape ready for the next day. So this one night, I was working past close like I usually did. Everyone had already left the building, including the other workers, so I was the last one in the building. I was dragging my cleaning cart around the arcade area. I had already turned off all the game machines. I was by that space-themed arcade machine where you had to press the button at the right moment to stop the light on the jackpot bulb.
Oh, no.
As I was passing by this machine, the space-themed music suddenly emits from the machine at a very loud volume, and all the lights start flashing again. I felt like my heart was in my throat. That's how much it startled me. I fiddled with my keys to access the control port of the machine to turn it off again. I'd never seen anything like that happen before. It suddenly just freaked me out, only because I was all alone in that big building pretty late at night. The weirdness didn't stop there, though.
Oh no.
By this point in the night, I had already shut down the animatronics on the stage, so when I heard Chucky's pre-recorded laugh break the silence of the room...
Oh shit, I got the fuck, I knew it, I told you, bro, I told you, dog. Look, I'm not so much of saying like boom. I just think they legit just come alive just because it's haunted. I don't think that, but I do. What I really think, Pete. I do think they be doing things right, but the way I pictured it, I've always pictured it like this before FNAF. I'm gonna get to the point. My bad. I picture all the little Chuckies or the animatronics in Chuck E. Cheese, right? They in there, boom, they do what they do, but somebody controlling them though, from another location. This is just how I look at it, bro. The crazy part is, when FNAF came out, I'm probably not the only one who think of it that way. Now, I'm not saying like they just come alive killing niggas because they haunted. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I just feel like it's somebody just on the other end just watching these monsters through the eyes of these animatronics and they can just control them. That's just how I look at Chuck E. Cheese, bro. I'm sorry, I don't know, but I don't care.
Chucky's pre-recorded laugh break the silence of the room. My heart started pounding again. The laugh was short and cut off. It almost sounded glitchy. I ditched my cleaning cart to go backstage and check on the animatronics.
Quick!
And I could see they were in their idle modes now, meaning they would move their limbs and heads around every so often. I would have to go to the control room to turn them off, but this was the second strange thing to happen that night. I started getting paranoid that someone else was in the building with me, but that thought was interrupted when I noticed that the Chucky animatronic was facing me.
Oh, hell no.
Its head angled down perfectly to look as though it was looking at me. It was bizarre. Bizarre that I was finding it that disturbing. I'm not crazy, but for my own peace of mind, with my eyes on the Chucky animatronic, I walked past it, closer to the control room. I waited there for a few seconds, and then the animatronic spun 90 degrees to face me once more.
Boy, you cap!
Perfectly. I swear it was once again looking right at me, and then the laughter emitted once again from the animatronic. But in a creepy, glitchy, cut-off manner. This time much louder, obviously because I was right next to it. I ran to the control room to hit the switch to turn everything off.
This is so freaking creepy, and you are still trying to be top tier employee of the month. I'm getting the hell out of there. The first time I heard, I'm gone. Charlie ain't clean nothing. I ain't mop. I ain't sweep. I left the pizza out. I'm gone. I don't even think I locked up. Matter of fact, they might be suing me. I don't care. I'll be in court like these in my suit, like, but I'm still alive, cuz. I got up out of there, dog. You ain't gonna kill me, cuz. Stop playing with me, dog. I'm getting up out of there.
Because I was right next to it. I ran to the control room to hit the switch to turn everything off on the stage once more.
No.
I left the control room, and the Chucky animatronic was still facing the direction it was moments before. I left the stage through the curtain and just felt uneasy. I was starting to think maybe it was all just getting to my head. But that's when I heard the horrible laugh again come from the stage.
Man, get up out of there, dog.
That was the last straw. I took my car to...
And see, because this sound like, because if it was me on the other end, I'd have been over there cracking up like, I got bro so scared. Because that's why I said I feel like someone's doing that. I don't feel like it's like someone's doing that as in like these things are haunted trying to kill you. I legit just feel like these things are just cameras. Like people are using these to actually see what's going on. I ain't gonna get too deep. I'll play it.
That was the last straw. I took my card, clocked out, and left. I texted my boss the next day that I had to leave early because I was feeling extremely sick. He said it wasn't a problem.
Because it was him.
He never mentioned anything about the animatronics being left on. And when I asked him if the animatronics had some kind of motion detecting feature to look at people, he said no, they didn't. I'm not the most superstitious guy, but I firmly believe I wasn't the only presence in that building that night. And I don't mean there was another person in there. This is
this is why I used to be scared of right here, bro. Because he looks legit like a person, bro. He just be sitting there, he got like these Levi jeans, and they're not even 501s. He just got on Levi jeans, and he just be sitting there like chewing like the little hate thing, and he be turning like that. So, and when he be playing the guitar, like one time I was trying to watch, I'm like, he ain't really playing the guitar. Even though Nas an adult, I know he really wasn't. But as a kid, it was tripping me out, because I'm like, oh, they cap, he ain't even really playing the guitar. So at that point, I'm already knowing you haunted. Stop playing with me.
This is a story from my childhood that I don't like to look back on too much. I was 13. My mom brought my two little sisters and I to Chuck E. Cheese one evening. My sisters are 4 and 6 years younger than me, so it was more for them, and my mom just wanted me to come along. My mom was playing games with my sisters, so I went to do my own thing. It was my only time ever at Chuck E. Cheese, so I was trying to play every game at least once.
Sound like it's about to be your last.
Eventually, a worker in a red polo shirt came up to me. At least once. Eventually, a worker in a red polo shirt came up to me. He was in his lower to mid-20s, I'd say. He didn't seem that old. He asked me if I wanted some more tokens.
No.
I said, yeah, sure. He told me to follow him. He led me through this sketchy back door, which led to a back exit. I asked him where he was leading me. He said to his truck. He told me not to tell anyone, but that he had access to all the tokens he wanted and just kept piles of them in his car. I stopped following when I realized he was leading me to his car.
Oh my god.
I told him my mom would be mad. He tried to push that I follow him a little more, but gave up. Before I walked back inside, he asked for my AIM username, and I gave it to him, always excited for new friends on AIM. For those of you who don't know, AIM was an instant messenger that was all the rage before smartphones and texting really became a thing. I don't remember his username, all I know it was something with his name in it, which was Ben. I would sign on to AIM every single night, including that night after Chuck E. Cheese. I signed in, and I had a few friends online. Next thing I knew, I got a message from Ben.
I knew it.
So I added him to my buddy list. He said, "Hey, it's Ben from earlier." I replied, "What's up?" and we started chatting. He chatted with me as if we were good friends already. I asked him how he was able to get all the tokens he wanted.
Because he
said
capped,
it's
bro.
easy when you work there. He told me he was going to come to my house that night with a bunch of tokens. I told him, no, it's okay. And he told me, no, it's fine. You live really close to me anyway. I replied, how do you know where I live? And he said he followed my mom's van on our way home.
Oh!
I blocked his account immediately. I was beyond scared. I told my friends about it on AIM. Some of them said I should tell my parents or call the police. But I waited. Maybe he was bluffing.
He ain't cap.
But no, he wasn't. I heard a truck pull up outside through my open window. I looked out the window and saw the black truck that Ben guy was leading me towards earlier. I saw him get out from the truck, and I know he spotted me because he started walking over to my window. I pulled the window in and locked it, and then shut the blind. By that point, he was already halfway to my window, and he was waving his arms at me. I ran to my mom to tell her. She didn't find it funny, thinking I was kidding at first, but I convinced her after she looked out the window and saw the black truck begin to speed down the road. My mom wanted me to show her the AIM conversation, but I couldn't, as I had deleted him off my buddy list and blocked him. My parents called the police, of course, but that was just for peace of mind. They couldn't do anything besides make a report.
Look,
the next day, my mom called the Chuck E. Cheese and asked about a Ben. They said they had no Bens who worked there.
Boy, no, yeah, I already knew that.
Also, no employees matching that guy's description. The Chuck E. Cheese eventually handed the CCTV footage from the day before to the police department for an investigation, which turned up no results. My family never went to a Chuck E. Cheese ever again.
Hey, so that second one might be cap. It could be, bro. He could have just been hot. Could have been on some shrooms, some acid. He worked late. Who knows? A little booger sugar. I don't know. But even if he was just making the story up because it was like, yo, I just want to get on Mr. Nightmare video, that's still another person who look at it the way I look at it. I'm telling you. These things always creep me out, even as an adult, dude. Like that, and what's funny now, because when we've been recently, like it's lit. They legit got some good arcade games too now, bro. But I didn't even see none of the animatronics. It was just like legit people walking around in the little Chucky like a crackhead now too. Like they just walking around in the Chucky outfit now, whatever. So I was like, it kind of makes sense for them to not have animatronics because a lot of kids used to be scared of those animatronics. That's why when FNAF came out, I was like, yo, this is actually a good game. Because it really felt like my mind created this game. I was like, ooh, I like this. Because I always looked at Chuck E. Cheese to be freaking weird. But a lot of people already look at Chuck E. Cheese to be weird sometimes. Because I don't think they still have the animatronics. I don't know. Yeah, my bad, my lips all glossy. Now I had to put on some chapstick. But I ain't really got no words for you today. I mean, I can hit you with some. But this one, it may not apply to everybody. This one, it may be a little different for some people. But for the most, probably. Pete, I just read this today. I forgot who said it. It was like, if you're depressed, it's because you're living in the past. If you're anxious, it's because you're living in the future. If you're at peace, it's because you're living in the present. Just keep it short and simple. It's a little life. Go with the flow. Have some plans though. Don't drift away. Have some plans, but just go with the flow. I'm out. Like I tell you all the time, I love y'all. I love me, but I'm out.